welcome to Elevate. I am your host, Deanna Johnson Coffin.
And I'm your co-host, Adriana Coffin.
Well, how is all this Georgia pollen treating you?
The pollen is absolutely oppressive. It just blows around like a sandstorm and comes and gets you as soon as you open up your door.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
So how are you dealing with the pollen?
Well, you've seen me around here sniffing and carrying on and crying and weeping, and it's been terrible. It's been, like you said, oppressive. I feel like I'm dying. That's one of the reasons I didn't even wear makeup. If you could see my eyes, you'd see they were all red and puffy, and it's not because I'm a drinking person. I'm not, but the allergies have been tearing me up, so there you have it. There you have it.
So now that we've told you about our allergy problems, we're going to talk about some simple ways that you can elevate your indoor spaces.
Yeah, but before we get into that, we're going to do a little talking about some celebrities. This is kind of our little celebrity gossip segment. Let's talk a little bit about the game show Jeopardy. Now, in our household, we absolutely love Jeopardy. Adriana, you've been raised on Jeopardy, haven't you?
Yeah, I have been.
Yeah, I mean, you've been watching Jeopardy since you were a little child.
Yeah, I mean, my whole life.
Yeah, I remember when we first sat her down between me and her daddy, and she would watch the shows and take in the information, and I remember her getting her first few questions right, and we were so happy and so delighted that our little child was learning all these great things. And then she started, as in junior high school, getting more questions right, and we were delighted still. And then she hit high school, and that's when the started going downhill for us. I remember the first game we played, and you got more questions right than us, and I thought, oh well, that's different. But it wasn't. It actually has been that way since since then. And my husband and I have resorted to combining our scores and multiplying them in order to keep up with her score.
And it still doesn't work.
Yeah. She's hoping to actually get on Jeopardy one day, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been trying out for it every year since I was about 10. I'm just going to keep trying until I die.
That's right. Oh, that's dramatic. Anyway, let's talk about the fact that Alex has bin gone. Alex Trebek, the former show, the host of Jeopardy, has been gone now for 5 months. God rest his soul. But since that time, the show has taken to having guest hosts, which seems like a good idea, But let's kind of evaluate who these guest hosts have been. Can you tell us about some of these guest hosts, Adriana?
Well, there was Ken Jennings.
Okay.
And he started off on Jeopardy as one of the most successful contestants of all time. And after that, he got hired as a producer and eventually went on to be a guest host after Alex Trebek died.
That's
and
right.
He was okay.
Right.
But it sort of went downhill from there. Then there was Mike Richards, the executive producer of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
He is used to being behind the scenes and not in front of the camera.
Right.
And then this hill just keeps sloping downwards.
Yeah.
We got to Katie Couric.
Yeah.
And, I know I should be happy that the glass ceiling has been broken and that we've had our first female Jeopardy host.
That's right, and we are. We're happy.
We are, but it's mixed feelings because she is so dry.
Wow.
I mean, she's like a boring English teacher. I mean, I've met toast that was less dry than she was.
Okay, moving on.
And then there was the absolute rock bottom, which was Dr. Oz, a celebrity doctor and talk show host known for his, how shall we say, controversial treatments for the COVID-19 virus.
Yeah, can we say bleach baths and hydrochloroquine? That's all we have to say. Okay, not good. But let's not forget about this week's stellar guest host. That would be Aaron Rodgers, who I was not familiar with since I'm not into football, but he is a quarterback. And of course, as a quarterback, he runs balls up the field. Not sure how he got on the list, but nobody asked me for my input. Frankly, I've been traumatized by the whole thing, and I think I'm going to resort to watching old Jeopardy episodes with Alex.
Yeah.
So anyway, but what else?
So have you heard that Harry and Meghan's Megxit drama is going to be made into a Lifetime movie?
No, I hadn't heard anything. You mentioned it a little bit the other day, but I really didn't know anything about it. Tell us more.
So according to TV Line, the official movie synopsis says, the movie details the struggles of the new parents and unique challenges of being a part of the royal family, which ultimately led Harry and Meghan to give up their royal ties and start a new life on their own terms.
Wow, wow. What I wonder is who is going to play Meghan Markle. And I've got an idea. Don't shoot me. Just an idea. Maybe Meghan can play herself. I mean, I don't know, but if the rumors are true and she's as high maintenance as they say she is, that could save everybody a lot of time and trouble. So there you have it. What about other news? Do you know anything? Oh, in other news, I know. The GOP lawmakers here in Georgia are kicking Coca-Cola to the curb because the company criticized the new laws about restricting voting. What about that?
Well, talk about cancel culture. They are literally kicking cans of Coca-Cola to the road.
Boop, boop, boop.
In addition to that, the Republican-controlled House voted along party lines to end Delta Airlines tax break for worth more than $35 million worth of jet fuel.
Right, that's right.
Georgia's Republican House Speaker, David Ralston, acknowledged the vote was meant as a reprimand following Delta CEO Ed Bastian's remarks. He said, "You don't feed a dog that bites your hand. You got to keep that in mind sometimes."
Yeah. Well, I've got this to say about that. Remind me not to fly Delta because it sounds like they're going to be having some fuel shortage problems. American Airlines, here we come. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a short break, but we will be right back. Well, we're back, and this next segment is called Around the Town, and it basically features pictures and videos of places that we've been to around Metro Atlanta, but also in other places we've been to. As a matter of fact, this segment is going to feature some time that we spent at Lake Junaluska, specifically the Lake Junaluska Conference Center up in the western mountains of North Carolina. Let me just tell you that Lake Junaluska is one of our favorite places to go, to relax, to rejuvenate, to refresh. It's nothing like the mountain air and the beauty of the lake and the beauty of just all the mountains in the background. Just, you know, they do us good every time we go. So take a look as we take you to the mountains of Lake Junaluska. One of our family's all-time favorite places to visit is the Lake Junaluska Conference Center in Lake Junaluska, North Carolina, located about 30 minutes from Nashville. The amazing lake views and magnificent mountains make it feel like a little bit of heaven on earth. Although the resort has a variety of lodgings, including hotels and inns, we usually rent a vacation house, which allows us to grill out and cook some of our own meals. During our stay at the lake, we spend lots of time outdoors exploring and taking in the lovely scenery. We especially enjoy taking walks along the Rose Walk, where we get to see a variety of spectacular roses and many other types of flowers. Because my husband and I are both avid photographers, we love taking pictures of the surroundings and using it as a backdrop for a photo shoot. Over the years, we have brought many family and friends to Lake Junaluska. It's a great place for family events and for marriage retreats. The nighttime views at the lake are just as spectacular as they are in the daytime, and we never leave the resort without spending time at Memorial Chapel. We love Lake Junaluska, and our family plans to visit there for years to come. We'll be right back after this short break. We're back, and in this segment, we are going to be talking about ways that we can elevate our living space. But before we do that, to open up this segment, Adriana is going to be telling us some fun and obscure facts in a segment that we call Did You Know? So, Adriana, hit us with some Did You Know facts.
So here's our first fact of the day. Did you know that the decor in 19th century homes caused many of the health problems, including fainting?
Oh my God.
Although corsets and heavy dresses are often blamed for the fainting spells that many Victorian women suffered from, scientists have discovered that it was actually the lead and arsenic found in many wallpapers and paints that were making people sick.
Wow, that's crazy. I never knew that. So the house was literally making them sick.
Yes, I know. It was crazy.
Wow. Hit us with another Did You Know fact.
So here's our second fact. Did you know that the little notch-shaped space under your lower cabinets serves a very specific purpose? The space is called a toe tick, and it allows your feet to slip under the cabinet, which allows you to get much closer to the countertop than you would have been able to if the doors were built all the way down to the floor.
It's one of those things that if it weren't there, you would know it.
Yeah.
You would be like, why isn't this notched out? And why wouldn't they call that notched out space like a toe tick? But I never thought about it.
I know.
I never thought about it. Hit us with one more.
So here's our last fact of the day. So did you know that many of the Victorian-style homes built between 1908 and 1940 were built from kits?
Kits?
Yes, kits. K-I-T-S.
Okay, all right.
People were able to order kits that contained all of the materials and instructions needed to build a house from the Sears catalog for about $6,700.
Wow, that's crazy. I don't want to tell IKEA.
It's like IKEA on steroids.
It is. It's seriously, nobody tell them. We don't need any IKEA houses.
No, we don't.
We're good. Well, now that Adriana has given us some interesting and obscure facts about housing and living spaces and home decor and all that kind of stuff, let's talk about some inexpensive, simple things that we can do to elevate our indoor living space. One thing that I have done in our home to elevate our indoor living space is to use a tablecloth in my dining room. That may seem like a very simple thing to do, but let me tell you, a colorful tablecloth takes your dining room up a notch. And when you accompany that with with a nice vase and some freshly cut flowers, it just makes your room, I feel, as pretty as a picture. I absolutely adore cut flowers. I get them several times a year from my husband. Sometimes I go out and even buy a bouquet myself, and you can buy a lovely bouquet like this for under $10. Actually, this bouquet just cost me $5. Can you believe that? Plus tax. But anyway, so it doesn't cost that much to do something like that.
So another thing that you and Dad have done has been to upgrade chairs by reupholstering the seats.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true. Over the years, we've reupholstered a good number of chairs for ourselves, but also for our Revamp Furnishing customers. We have another business called Revamp Furnishing. Check us out online. And when I talk about reupholstering, I want to be clear that I'm just talking about the simple stuff, the kind where you pop the seats off. And then rip off the old material and then attach the new upholstery. It's really something anybody can do. Anybody with a staple gun and a little material, a little bit of time. It's easy to do. I actually bought this material right here from a discount fabric store. I got 3 yards for about $20, and not including the staple gun. The whole thing was like I said, about $22. So really, really easy to do. Really easy to do.
Yeah, so those are all great tips. So what are some other simple things that people can do to elevate their living spaces?
Well, another really simple thing that you can do to elevate your indoor space is to add houseplants. As you can see, I have a couple here. Houseplants are great. Not only do they add color, but they add texture to your space, to your home decor. Now, you have to make sure you get houseplants that are specifically for indoors. Don't go trying to bring no rose bushes.
That won't work.
You know, that's not going to work. But these plants here, now this is a golden pothos plant. And the one sitting by Adriana, that's a peace lily plant. But there are lots of indoor plants that will work for any home. Spider plants, or jade, African violets, those are all great indoor plants that you can use. But the thing about that though is that, and fern. Don't forget about fern. There are certain types of fern that you can use. But the only thing is that you have to remember to water your plants. I'm not always the best. My husband gets on to me about that, especially when it came to fern. Fern was his. And I did bad things with fern. And I knew things were really not good when I walked past Fern one day and she was crispy. That was not good. My husband was not a happy camper. Anyway, not a good look on Fern. Crispy was not a good look. Anyway, yeah.
So are there any other quick, easy tips that you can share about elevating your indoor living space?
I'll tell you this. I love using wreaths. I love wreaths. Now, technically, a wreath is outside the door. But since it leads to directly into your living space, I'm including it in this segment. I think a wreath is very stylish, but a simple thing, but a very stylish thing to do. I think anybody with a wreath on the front door is just got to be a good person, even if they're a mass murderer. Maybe not, but you know. But anyway, but I love how a wreath on the door makes a house feel, and I use wreaths all year long. This one, of course, would be a fall wreath, but then I have one that it's a generic one, and I kind of just hang that up for the summer. This is the one that's currently on my door. This is my little spring wreath. This was one I got for about $25. Maybe not quite, at Target. And then this is one this of course is Christmas. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. This is one my husband made. He's a good wreath maker. He did that because he didn't want me to buy the $50 wreath that I was looking at originally. But that's another story. Anyway, but we love wreaths. And like I said, you can make them yourself. Or you can buy them from a local discount store like a Walmart or a Target.
Okay, so, well, we're going to take another break and come back to talk a little bit more about elevating our health with cancer survivor Amanda Collier Rittenhouse.
We'll be right back. So we're back, and in this in the Spotlight segment, we're going to be talking with Amanda Collier Rittenhouse. I had a chance to sit down with Amanda a few days ago to talk about her fight with breast cancer, and also talk about where she is in that process and what she's doing to elevate her health. So take a listen. Okay, well, Amanda, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate that. I guess where I'd want to start with you would be for you to tell me and my audience, when were you diagnosed with cancer? Or even before that, can you briefly tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, what you do?
Okay, well, I'm Amanda Rittenhouse and got 2 adult children.
Yes.
My son's out on his own. My daughter's still in college. He's and been married for this is a monumental year.
Oh.
Because this year I'll turn 55.
Yeah.
I will have been married. Will be married 30 years
Ooh.
in July, and then my son turns 25.
Oh wow! So
it's
yeah,
like a big year.
A lot of milestones.
Yeah. You know, I would say, fortunately, unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm kind of a member of this special club
Yes.
of ladies who have
Yeah.
dealt with breast cancer.
Right.
My journey started.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was, well, I went and had my first biopsy. I did my
Yeah.
mammogram, my yearly,
Yeah.
because I always been on a 6 month schedule, but moved to the yearly schedule
Yeah.
like maybe 6 months prior to that.
Right.
So did my mammogram.
Yeah.
That was in right before Thanksgiving, and then December. Of
Yeah.
course, right after Thanksgiving, I got a call like
Yeah.
we need to, do further imaging. So then
Right.
I had ultrasound, and from the ultrasound, I had a biopsy,
Right.
and so that was December 10th when I had the biopsy, and then
Yeah.
I actually found out
Yeah.
it was cancer. December
Hey.
2019 was
Yeah.
when.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and from that point, I actually had
Yeah.
the biopsy,
Right.
and then MRI
Right.
with contrast, and
Yes.
then they found a second spot. So
Right.
my first diagnosis was invasive ductal carcinoma,
Okay.
IDC, which is the most common
Right.
breast cancer.
Okay.
And then after I did the MRI with contrast, I
Right.
ended up having invasive lobular, which
Okay.
kind of can mirror into both breasts.
Yeah.
So at that point, found in my left breast. So
Yeah.
it was in different quadrants.
Yeah.
If you kind of divide it,
Sure.
of course. So I was for sure at that point having a single mastectomy.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but all the problems I always had were on
Yeah.
the right side. So I'm
Right.
like, you know what?
Yeah.
This is nerve wracking.
Right.
Let me just, since I'm gonna build new, let's
Right.
go build new. So
Right. That's right.
so we started.
Yeah.
We started with
Yeah.
going in doing a double mastectomy, which
Wow.
was, some people were like, oh, it's kind of radical,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because of course my plan was initially
Yeah.
just to have the surgery
Yeah.
and then have radiation.
Right.
But of course, all of that changes
Yes.
when you get the lab reports back.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
there was some, some yuckiness that we didn't see on imaging. There was a
Right.
small tumor
Yeah.
that was malignant, that was
Okay.
behind the breast.
Oh wow.
So,
Yeah. A lot going on
I
there.
went
Yeah.
from stage 1
Yeah.
to 2B.
So all of this was going on. What did life look for you at home? Were you working during this time? Were you just shut down? How did that look for you at home? And
Well, I was working.
Okay.
I was working.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have my, and it's interesting. The day after I got my diagnosis, I actually got up and dressed for work, and I was just like, okay, I don't think I'm supposed to do life today. I think I'm supposed to like sit here
Yeah.
and kind of get through,
Yeah.
this diagnosis, and then what comes next,
Yeah.
and kind of come up with some good questions.
Right. Wow. So you were sort of, at least in the beginning, sort of just kind of going about life, going through the appointments, still doing work, that kind of thing. So I'm interested to know so now it settles in, you have cancer, you're doing your treatments, of course there's a pandemic. Who or what encouraged you during this time? Because your uncle passed away, so it's a hard time. What encouraged you? What kept you going during this time?
Well, I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
Oh gosh, that's great.
And it's 16 of us. So
Yeah.
I have 15 wonderful line sisters that all got together, and
Yes.
every day it was encouragement.
Yes.
I have a lot of cousins,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
was. We had a drive-through birthday party. I mean, my daughter turned 21 too, so it's like trying to figure out how to celebrate her birthday.
Sure.
And then my birthday was
Yeah.
a month later. So just trying to find ways
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
enjoy life in spite of the pandemic.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just the world stopped.
Yeah,
So
it did.
taking care of, other people, checking on them too.
Yeah, that's true. So you found a way, even with your own diagnosis, to check in and to be present with other people in their lives and with their situations. I find that quite admirable. Like, were there any other specific places you went to for support? And where would you recommend women who are in this battle go to for support? Are there things in place specifically for women with breast cancer?
just making myself available to talk to other women that
That's
are going
good.
through it. Because people did that for me. Like there
Wow.
would be people that would stop what they're
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
take time out of their day, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like listen to me
Yeah.
cry or listen to me
Wow.
like this is not fair.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, get it out. All
Yeah.
those feelings are valid.
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
and that's why I think it's important to share the story,
Yes.
because getting through it and
Yeah.
also helping others as they
Yeah.
move through it as well.
That's great. So it
And there,
sounded like you are paying it forward.
yes, and there are a few Facebook groups
Yes.
out there. There's one in particular for
Yeah.
Black women. It's
Okay.
for baddies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's for mainly Black women
Yeah.
that, because sometimes we have the unique
Yes.
situation of, the medical
Yeah.
racism sometimes kind of plays a
Definitely.
part
Definitely.
into a lot of things,
Yeah.
but thankfully we're here in Atlanta, so
Yeah,
we
that helps.
actually help.
That helps. That helps.
Yeah.
And so, you alluded to this a minute ago that it wasn't all roses. But now that you're sort of on the other side of things, what has life been for you? How has things looked mentally, spiritually, physically, now that you're on the other side, now that the breast cancer died? I mean, you've done with all your treatments and all that kind of stuff. How is life looking now?
Life is looking pretty good now, and I do have to say my faith got me through
Yeah.
this whole experience.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's, beginning the journey as someone else who's further along?
Well, I think it's important to talk to other people that have been down this
Yeah.
journey before.
Definitely.
You know, that was kind of like my plug-in because, I didn't have a support group to go to because they weren't me.
Well, our time together is just about up. Amanda, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. You look lovely. I'm jealous of your pink scarves. I love scarves. And I hope you had a happy Easter. And we'll talk. We'll keep the conversation going. We'll keep talking. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon. All right. Bye-bye. We're going to take another little short break, but we will be right back. Before we end our time together, I'd like to ask you, our listening audience, to share your stories with us about something that you have done to elevate your life. Now, it could be pretty much anything. It could be something you've done around your home, indoors or outdoors, to just you upgrade your living space. It could be something you've done to improve your health. Maybe you've lost a lot of weight and you want to share that story with us, that journey with us. It could be something you've done to take your finances to the next level. Maybe you started a side gig and it's taken off and it's going really well. It could be something about your personal style. We want you to share your story with us, and if you share your story with us, you might be featured on our next In the Spotlight segment.
If you haven't done so already, go to the Elevate YouTube channel and subscribe. Then email your stories and pictures to elevateytchannel@gmail.com. You can also become a friend of the Elevate Facebook page by clicking the link in the description below. And that will allow you to share your stories and pictures with us on Facebook.
That's right. So please share your stories by emailing it to us or by sharing the pictures and the comments, stories on our Facebook page. Well, we want to thank you for spending time with us. It's always great when we can connect with our viewers. Make sure to visit our channel and to subscribe to Elevate, our YouTube channel. See you next time.